It's Surrey Hills, it's my 31st birthday, and my husband is holding the most amazing surprise birthday party for me. All our friends are there, there's champagne, there's great music, great food. We are buzzing and I'm literally living my best life. Next day, I have the worst hangover. It is something catastrophic. No substance is working. I'm purging my body. There's literally nothing I can do. And there's this groundswell within me. And all I can see and feel is coming out of my head. And I'm saying, what is this? There's got to be more. I'm the urban shaman now. And part of that journey started back then. This was a really deep homecoming for me. And that moment, I realized that there was a complete shift in what was going on. And these were seismic shifts, not just teeny weeny little shifts that happen on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. And I needed this to happen. And these seismic shifts, they don't tell you they're coming. They're on their way and there's nothing you can do about it. They are here to take over your life, and there's a destruction that's going to happen. And the first one that happened for me, fast forward 4 years, was part of this journey that I'd started. There was an earthquake. Everything was completely split. My heart, my partner and I separated, the marriage was over, the house split, everything was over, everything was crumbling. And I needed that to happen. Obviously, I didn't know that at the time, but that's the process. Things just don't often seem as they are on the outside. So this first seismic shift was this incredible earthquake. And the earthquake, you can visualize this complete split happening. And you can imagine that happening in somebody's life. I have 3 beautiful children. There was a lot of disconnection that happened between my husband and I, and things just we were not on the same page. We were moving in different directions. I was opening up to this incredible spiritual journey and didn't know where it was going, but it was just an incredible space to be in. So moving from that disconnection I had with my partner and everything else in my life, I found reconnection within myself, and that was my emerging true self. Next, what happened was this wildfire. And this wildfire, if you can imagine the Australian bushfire ripping through the landscape, they really do a lot of damage. I obviously liked a lot of pain. So the first thing that happened with this was all my fears coming up and self-doubt, everything was annihilated within me. And that had to happen. That was, to some degree, there was relief there. And so I was really facing myself, that really invisible part of me. And I had to make friends with this. I had to build a new relationship with myself. And so we all have parts of those within us. It's just that connection that has to happen. And the wildfire allowed me to completely annihilate that landscape and bring myself into a whole new space, a whole new place of renewal. So the next was a flood. You can see there's a bit of a theme happening now. Everything to do with nature is where I'm at right now. The flood brought with it both the most beautiful experiences and, again, the most fearful and traumatic experiences. And as you move through this spiral of your journey, which I'm sure many of you can relate to, all these experiences are there for a reason, and they balance each other out. But it's difficult when you're in it and everything's happening around you and you're focusing outwards instead of inwards. So this self-healing, this flood was all coming at me through my self-healing, but there were many good things that were happening. I'd started a university degree in Chinese medicine, and I had finished the degree and my life was starting to take off. And so that was the flood of all these great things coming to me. And I realized how important it is to connect on that really deep level spiritually, because all the things that I'd created outside of me were all within me. So I was working in this incredible clinic in literally around the corner from where I was living. New house, new beginnings, all sorts of things coming to me, new relationships. And my patients were incredible. And one day I was with this incredible patient who understood energy. And she was open to all sorts of new things, as was I. And I was palpating her acupuncture points, the blood running through her vein on her wrist, which is all connected to the heart, all of these beautiful connections through energy. And I had these strange feelings in my hands. Again, I was thinking, what is this? I was open to trusting. I was open to anything that was coming to me because I had started to really connect with these really esoteric spaces and guides, and everything that I was doing was all about healing. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and see where this is going. So I just lay my hands above her body, and all I could feel was this flood and rush of energy through these hands. And this was the most incredible experience. It's difficult to describe because it was this complete wave coming through me to her. And the lesson I learned from this was replenishment, both for me and also the gift that I had been given of healing. The next thing that happened to me on that seismic level was a tornado. And the tornado has a spinning, really dynamic force. It takes everything with it. There's not much left once a tornado rips through a landscape. And this time, I finally was at a point where I was ready to take on responsibility on a new level. I was starting a new business. I'd called it the nature of healing. I really wanted to explore all the gifts that I had and the energy that was flowing through me, not just through the acupuncture. And so I really jumped in. Now with the tornado, it opened many doors and pathways were opening in so many ways. And the one pathway that opened up was this opportunity to do a vision quest. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about vision quests. They're traditional ceremonies, very sacred. And I did this in Australia with a group of people and a Peruvian shaman. And it's 4 days, 4 nights, no food, no water, no shelter, bare minimum in the Australian bush by ourselves in a very sacred circle. Under the stars, connecting to nature, talking to the ants, the mosquitoes, the trees, anything that was in front of us, because that's all we had. And the vision quest is literally that. It's finding your purpose, your vision. And this is the fastest way to do it, I have to say. And I understood the process, but it's not until you're out there that you really understand the depth of what comes to you and through you. I really like to do things the hard way. And this really took me to a new level. And after that 4 days, we came out, we had a sweat lodge, more detox, and then we went into a beautiful ceremony in this teepee with a fire, singing, conversation, really sacred and a lovely experience that everybody was in connection with. And my vision, the purpose that came through me was that I was a shaman. Me, a shaman. And what I learned from this, from the tornado, was a resurrection happening. And then finally, what happens is this drought. Because I was well on my way to annihilating many years of what I'd created beforehand. And this was just opening up and really blossoming now. So the drought brought with it an understanding of who I was. Shaman, I had to do some research about that. Traditionally, they are wearing animal skins, they're in the Amazon, they're holding sacred ceremonies with plant medicine and other substances. And I was this inner city, urban Sydney acupuncturist and healer with my 3 kids, single mum, just getting on with life and really growing in my potential. I'm thinking, there's a bit of a disconnect here. But I was open and I knew this had to go somewhere. And I just knew that I had to explore it. So the next thing was for me to really own it. And I'm guided to this Business Accelerator course. So from Vision Quest to Business Accelerator, couldn't be more extreme. Okay, I'm on my way, I get there, and it's all about showing up in connection with other people in the social media, in finances, in knowing your numbers, in a whole rebrand, and really developing your niche. And those of you who have your own businesses understand all of these processes. This was the piece de resistance. And what came out of that, similar to the Vision Quest, the shaman became the urban shaman. So here I was, exploring these new ways, and at the same time there was a lot of new healing coming through me. So I was able to bring worlds together, and I am bringing worlds together for people, myself, and the collective. It's powerful energy. It's a big responsibility as well. So I really took ownership for this, and am incredibly grateful for all the gifts that have come to me. And the lesson that I learnt in the drought was the revelation of who I was becoming. So the 5 lessons here: from the earthquake was reconnection, from the wildfire was renewal, from the flood was replenishing, from the tornado, a complete resurrection, and from the drought, that revelation, the urban shaman owning who she was authentically. I didn't have to wear the animal skins. I didn't have to be taking plant medicine, but I was still navigating worlds, and I can see things that are really strange, but beautiful at the same time. And so for me to come out and own it, there was a lot of fear, because this is not something that is that people understand on a very simple level in that world that we live in. And I really needed to be able to help people heal themselves. And so here I am, living this life that was false, annihilating that and recreating this new life, and owning my essence as an urban shaman, and finally realizing that my offering to everybody is all about a revolution. So now I find that the inner world is a direct reflection of that outer world, but it's created from a very heart-centered place, really genuine, and this is the true becoming that I am now. And everyone is a healer, everyone's responsible for that, and everyone's a shaman in their own way. And shamans find their way. The future is alive.